Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight on. There we go. I was gonna actually go through the normal thing, but it's not Saturday night. We're just sitting here recording.
We're just recording tonight.
We're
Yeah.
just doing our quickly recording our daily doses. I don't think we actually have anything. What was that? You couldn't leave my own thing. You're killing me over here.
The label was up. It's a compulsion.
It's a compulsion, all right. You're killing me over here. Anyway. Oh, hey, wait.
Uh-oh.
It picked up enough, I would guess. But there we go. That'll work better, though, especially when we go later.
Yeah, putting your mic on helps.
Putting your mic on helps a little bit. Helps with the sound quality, consistency, and all that. Well, thank you for listening to us through that. So we don't have anything real to cover, so we're just going to hop right into our daily dose recordings. Let me go get set up here. Let me first make close stuff up here. I guess I have to do this. For those of you on Float, we're starting on trying out the service called Float, and we're seeing how it goes. Ooh, there's a cot.
What last daily dose did you do?
We are at 166. The last one we have, I think, was 165.
Did you post 165?
Yesterday, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, apparently I don't know how this thing actually works. Oh, it does say live now. Hey, so we actually are working over at Float. What do you know? Okay, so that's actually working. Got that all set up. It's just a new thing. We're trying, as we play around with the new landscape of social media, we kind of have to play around and see where we stick, so to speak. All right, so what do we've got?
Okay. How can you be romantic on a budget? How do you deal with a stubborn partner? That's from one of my chat people. Imagine that you are tasked to redesign society. What changes would you make?
Okay, what was that last one? Before
How
that.
do you deal with a stubborn partner?
Put that one on there. We'll take care of that.
How do you define evil? Do you believe that a person can be evil?
Sure, why not? Well, no, let's not do it right now. I don't want to do it right now.
What's the single most important thing that people should do for the planet?
It's not our area.
What's your definition of a perfect life?
Okay, we can cover that.
How do you approach changing habits?
Okay. Except I think we cover that one. We just cover it differently. So I may want to find something else.
You want to do that one or no?
No, we just did something real similar.
What accomplishments can we be most proud of?
It's actually a good one. We'll have to rephrase it a little bit, I think, but that's a good one.
Okay. How can we show gratitude?
I think we just did that. We'll come back to it.
What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
That's not our thing.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
It's not our thing.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Hold off on that one.
What if you're angry with your adult child?
I'm not sure I got a good answer. How many we got tonight for 3?
3.
Okay. Maybe?
Maybe. What makes you sad as a parent?
Okay.
Last one, if you could go back to childhood, what advice would you want from your adult self?
It's been a long time since we did that one. I think you did that one last time, so maybe it's me this time.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll put that one up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5.
Okay. That gets us till next Tuesday.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm closing some business over here. You know me, I've got 50 million windows open.
God, what are you doing?
Hey man, I have 32 gigs of RAM on my computer for a reason, so I can abuse the support thing. It's only quasi my fault. Good lord. Okay. And we are all right. It took that long. That whole time we did through all that. And I was coming through closing stuff, and finishing up half-done things, and yeah. Anyway, I spent that whole time just closing things essentially. All right.
We need a mic check.
Give me a second.
No way, man. No rest for the wicked.
Okay. All
Okay, mic check, mic check.
Yep, we're checking that. Check the mic. Check the mic. Mic, 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 mic.
Mic.
Yeah, anyway. All right, let's see. Come on.
Okay, mic check, mic check.
Yep, we're checking that. All right, we're all set. Okay, what's first?
That's first. Well, we have, how do you deal with a stubborn partner?
All right, let's go for it. I'm not sure I have an answer, but we'll go for it. All right. I wonder if Josiah's going to be able to be heard in the background. Anyway. Toddlers running around in the house. I don't know, these mics are pretty good about not picking up background noise. Paper thin wall. All right, you ready?
Ready?
We have to wait a second.
My knee popped
Did it hurt?
a little bit.
All right. Grandma's leaving, so you can get up. You might get upset in a minute, so let's get this so we can get it, squeeze us in.
Okay, here we go.
Now it's gonna catch it. We're just gonna have to. That's part of the problem of
Multi-generational family home.
Yep, and we don't have it like a studio. But it is what it is. Yeah, in the modern world, you have to make accommodations. Now, oddly enough, if it was just me and I was using the shotgun mic, I could actually record it and not worry about it because the mic wouldn't pick that up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the chances are one of our mics would pick it up. Yours or mine. Or bounce between the two. So we're just going to have to wait a minute. Let's see. Do we have anything to chat about? Well, actually, I can chat about what the heck I'm supposed to talk about on this. What do we do for a stubborn partner?
What do we do for a stubborn partner?
I mean, do you actually? Because, well, first thing's always, are you sure they're the ones being stubborn?
They're the ones being stubborn, yeah.
But you also don't want to dismiss the fact that lots of people do have stubborn partners. You have me.
You have me.
So maybe stubbornness isn't a one-way street. But let's put all that aside for a second.
I accommodate you.
Yeah, but
you accommodate me.
I guess the question is how stubborn.
How stubborn.
How stubborn or stubborn. Is it you're asking them to violate some personal? There's this. Like I said, he's gonna get mad in a minute. Grandma was leaving. He was gonna get upset in a minute. that was bound to happen. So okay, so we've got the stubborn one. What's next? Let's talk the next one through real quick. While we're waiting, we might as well accomplish something.
What is your definition of a perfect life?
My definition. Actually, that's a good question. How about we change that to how do we define a perfect life? How do we define a perfect life for ourselves? That's a more generic question. Rather than focus on what my answer is for me. Poor toddlers. Oh, from being as happy as you can be to having your little heart broken.
No wonder he goes down and sleeps for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
What accomplishments can we be the most proud of?
No, those are pretty good. I like that.
What if you're angry with your adult child?
It's actually not bad. The phrasing, it's not bad.
If you could go back to childhood, what advice would you want from your adult self?
Well, that's a different way of answering the question we've asked before. The question we asked before was, what advice would you give yourself? That question is, what advice would you want?
Yes.
That's actually a different. That's an interesting philosophical question. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Oh, now that the young one has gone on his emotional roller coaster, he was tired, so he was ready to go.
Yeah, it's getting late.
All right. Okay. That's right. We start with you. Okay. I almost forgot we changed formats. Ready?
Ready. How do you deal with a stubborn partner?
Well, I suppose the very first part of the question is to make sure that first you're not the one who's stubborn, and maybe you've gotten this point where you've got two rams essentially, and they just keep clashing heads and neither one wants to give up any ground, and you're complaining that the other person is stubborn. And so there's that possibility. Or maybe you haven't actually taken the time to honestly put yourself in their feet, in their perspective. You're not the one who's trying to understand where they're coming from, and so the reason they appear to be stubborn is because they're not being heard. Now there is the other side of that coin. They could just be stubborn on certain things. You have to deal with me.
You have to deal with me.
You know, I can be pretty stubborn on certain things. I'm very loosey-goosey on a lot of things, but the handful of things I'm stubborn on, I'm stubborn on. You know, that's kind of the personality quirks, the parts of people that you accept when you decide to love somebody.
You're allowed to have that, and so am I.
Yeah, and if you don't want to give that to the other person, well then, do you expect the other person to give it to you? I mean, you can't expect different behaviors. You have to have some consistency. Now, nothing's ever internally equal, but within a general scope of things, are you expecting similar behavior that you're giving? Are you giving similar behavior from what you're expecting? And maybe the answer to the question is, are they being stubborn? Are we being stubborn? Have we both dug our heels in and we're just talking in circles, and so we're being stubborn, rather than saying, okay, whatever discussion we're having, we're both just sitting here talking in circles. We're no longer listening to each other. We're talking past each other. We're more interested in winning the conversation than it is in trying to figure out what's really going on and how do we find some way to move forward and maintain peace. Because maybe the real answer to the question is, what's the goal?
Mm-hmm.
Is the goal to win, or is the goal to have a productive, fulfilling, long-term relationship? And, you know, sometimes the answer to that second part is taking a step back and maybe changing the conversation you're having. And maybe you're just having the wrong conversation. Maybe what you're actually arguing about isn't what you're actually arguing about, which is why you never get anything resolved. You know, a little bit of love, a little bit of understanding, a little bit of genuinely trying to understand the other person's perspective goes a long way. And that is your daily dose of love. Alrighty.
Good one, hon.
That's 166. Well, thank you for waiting. I want to appreciate my phone for waiting until we were done before it decided to do that. I'm not usually that lucky in terms of stuff making noise. What was that title of 166?
How do you deal with a stubborn partner?
Stubborn partner. Okay. That's tonight. We'll post it. Let's get these recorded. Let's do them all. Okay. What's next?
Hold on.
I've got a lot of catching up on making videos to do.
How do we define a perfect life for ourselves?
Okay. All right, you ready?
Hold on. Okay.
Sorry. I apologize. All right.
How do we define a perfect life for ourselves?
Well, one, I have to dissuade you of the notion that there's such thing as a perfect life.
Uh-huh.
What you have is a fulfilling life. Life is never going to be perfect. You're never going to have utopia. The definition of utopia is a place that doesn't exist. It's the literal definition. And so you're not going to have a perfect life. Life isn't perfect. But what you can have is as close as you can get. But that requires you to understand yourself. It's the hardest thing to do, is to actually spend enough time in self-reflection to understand what you genuinely need. And the trick is, on your journey for that, you find out that what you thought you genuinely needed changes. You become a different person along the journey. We've had this discussion numerous times, but life's journey changes you. And so your definition of a perfect life changes as you grow, become more experienced, change, suffer trauma, suffer loss, suffer success, suffer,
Love.
have victories, find love, lose love.
Lose love.
And then you have those moments. Get to watch the birth of your child, or the first time you get to hold a grandchild. Those are also perspective changing events. What you used to think was a perfect life now becomes, almost superficial. Look back and you say, how was I like that? How could I have looked at life so superficially? But it's not your fault. That's almost a universal thing. We all go through it. Across cultures, across time. As you learn and gain experience and knowledge and wisdom, you learn the things that you thought were important when you were young are not as important as you thought. But the thing is, you can't learn that without going through the journey. You have to go through the journey to learn that. And people can tell you, people have been saying it for thousands of years, but you still have to go through the journey yourself. And so if you want a perfect life, the trick is to love yourself. Be self-aware and just do the best you can. Follow the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. And that is your daily dose of love. Okay.
Well, you wrapped that one up nicely.
Oh, why did that made me stick? 166. It was stubborn. Why are you doing this to me? $167. Oops, that's 57. 67. What was it?
Perfect life.
Okay. Okay, ready?
Yeah, what accomplishments can we be the most proud of?
Okay.
What accomplishments can we be the most proud of?
Well, it's going to vary between individuals. I mean, personally, my most proud accomplishments are the fact that I managed to raise children that are good human beings. And it kind of seems like a low bar, but at the same time, it's not. It's the most important thing that one can do for society and the world, from my perspective. But who knows, if you're a microbiologist and you solve some malaria or some unique disease or something strange, you that could easily be your proudest accomplishment, and who would blame you? So, my proudest accomplishment and somebody else's proudest accomplishment, there's no universal truth. I suppose the most common truth is you've raised a good family. You've left your family, your community in a better place than it was.
And to do that, I had to quit drinking. I quit drinking 31 years ago. I'm very proud of that.
And that's a major accomplishment. In order to raise your family properly,
I had to quit drinking.
And that was the step. Nothing else. You couldn't follow anything else after that. And so, that becomes the major accomplishment, because without that,
nothing else could have happened.
Nothing else could have happened.
Yes.
And so those type of events can be a proud accomplishment. And then you've got those little accomplishments that kind of fill out the color of life. You can put in the shining star on the page of your life, but without everything else, how much is it worth? What story does it genuinely tell? I mean, you can say someone, cured cancer. Okay, great, but were they a good human being? Did they treat people well? Maybe they cheated on their spouse and ignored their children. Is it worth it? Society might think so, but children may not. Perspective is a strange thing. And so there's no correct answer, I think, is the actual answer to this question. We all just try to do the best we can. And our proudest accomplishments can sometimes be as simple as, I managed to stop drinking so I could be the mother I needed to be for my family. Or as, I managed to not raise an axe murderer. Hey, sometimes in life, if that's as best that you can do, then that's as best as you can do. Be proud of it. It's a big thing. Not raising an axe murderer is a good thing. Despite all the challenges, despite all the things I went through in life, I managed to raise a human being that treats other people with respect.
You raised 5 of them.
Well, not me, but anybody. You have people who've gone through serious drug addictions, who've raised their children through drug addictions, but yet their children come out fine. That's an accomplishment. And so maybe they don't have a lot to look back on their life and be proud of, but they can look back and say, despite everything I've screwed up, I at least raised a child who respects other human beings. And, all of us have been at the bottom, been in the gutter, have been at the bottom of some pit, even if it's only in our own mind. Many of us have been in that actual pit, but, all of us have at least been in the bottom of our mind at some point. And there are things, no matter what, there are things you can hold on to and say, despite everything, I've done that. And that is your daily dose of love. That was really long.
Yeah. Yeah. That one was really long.
I didn't realize it was that long till I turned over and looked. Oh, that was really long. Oops. That's like a minute longer than I like. I try to hit somewhere between 3 minutes and 3.5. I was 4:48 or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
4:51. It was even worse. Yeah. All right. Such as it is. That's not going to perform well. That's all right. I was rambling anyway. Okay, what was that one again?
Accomplishments that we can be most proud of. Proud accomplishments.
Okay. Excuse me. All right. So, what do we got? What's on tap?
What if you're angry with your adult child?
Okay.
What if you're angry with your adult child?
Oh, I am so tempted to give a funny answer, but I think we'll maybe cover this one a little serious. There's no easy answer because each child-parent relationship is different, even as young children. And then when you move into adults and in different stages as an adult, that it's an ever-evolving relationship. And then it becomes, what are you angry for them about? Do you not like their current girlfriend or boyfriend? Do you not like the color of their house? Or, are they not being the parent to their children they should be? What's the level of anger? What kind of righteous anger? Is it righteous anger, or is it, they're not being the person I think they should be, and I'm going to be mad because I'm their mother and I've been telling them what to do? Or I'm their father and they just won't listen to the advice I'm giving them. I want to strangle my children.
That's what really gets me, when they're just not listening and they're heading down a path that's going to be disastrous. And they're not listening. That's the only time I say anything. It makes me crazy.
Well, there is two things to that. One, sometimes you have to let them make mistakes, learn their lessons. And two, the world is different. The world we raised them for isn't the world they live in. We raised them for the world we live in. We didn't raise them for the world they live in. We couldn't. It's not possible. There was no way for us to know what the world is going to be like. And so when we can give them the wisdom of our experience, but they have to apply that into the modern world. And it may not look the way we think it should. But we don't exist in that world. Well, we do, but we fight it. Young kids, whippersnappers, get off our lawn. I feel like that more and more every day. I feel like more and more like a cartoon character every day. It's terrible. But I really do. But the point is, it's that there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that kind of generational stereotyping. And it's not that it's completely true, but you don't really know. A 50-year-old like me doesn't really know the world a 25-year-old is existing in. I can't. We actually exist in a vastly different world. We share parts of it, but there's not much we can actually do when we're angry with our adult children, except be angry with them and be mad at the clouds and shake your fist and yell at the clouds and scream into a pillow, because ultimately, unless they are generally harming themselves or their children or something of that nature, you've got to let them be who they are. Because you would want to. Yes. You wanted the same thing.
Yes.
I guarantee it. You wanted the same thing. You wanted to be able to make your own mistakes, and that is your daily dose of love. We're getting 4 minutes. I had to stop. 3 minutes 55. Shit. Wrapping this up. There's a spot. I'm taking it. All right. I think that is it for the day.
No, one more.
We got one more?
If you could go back to childhood, what advice would you want from your adult self?
Okay, 169. Okay, what was that one again?
What if you're angry with your adult child?
You can shake your fist at the clouds. You can shake your fist at the clouds. Dang whippersnappers, get off my lawn. That's about what you can do. You can get off my lawn, you whippersnappers.
You do that so well.
Well, I'm 12 and 80 at the same time.
You're not 80 yet.
Oh, yes, I am. I've been 80 for about 20 years. I've also been 12 since I was about, I don't know, 10. So
That makes no sense.
Wait, you live with me. You damn well know it makes sense.
You've been this way since you were 10?
Yeah, pretty much. Should answer so many questions.
It does. It really does.
All right.
You want to put on your other shoe first?
No. What is it? What is it you're doing? What's the one?
If you could go back to childhood, what advice would you want from your adult self?
Okay, so that's the different way. Okay.
If you could go back to childhood, what advice would you want from your adult self?
Ooh, that's a good question because it's the opposite of the question that's most often asked. Is what advice would you give your younger self? Not the question is what would you want as, say, a 16-year-old? And you could talk to your 50-year-old self. Say, hey, tell me something.
Yes.
Well, my 16-year-old self would be self-absorbed and probably want to know something you could bet on so you could make some money at some point in the future. Hey, what stock should I invest $100 in? And so I could get $100 in, I don't know, Microsoft or something back when, before it was anything, and I could be sitting on it.
So money.
I was a 16-year-old boy washing dishes. Yeah, money. It was money or girls. What the heck do you think's on a 16-year-old man's mind?
See, my 16-year-old, I would say that I wouldn't always be so awkward. I wouldn't always be so unpopular. I wouldn't always be so...
yeah, but what question would you ask yourself?
The question would I ask?
Yeah.
What advice would I want?
Yeah, what would you ask?
Trust that you're going to find love.
No, that's the answer they would give them, but what would be the question?
Oh, what would be the question? Oh, shoot, I don't know.
Well, realistically, put yourself in your 16-year-old self's shoes. You know, the cute little mini skirt and the halter top and all that, and ask yourself, what would you ask your 50-year-old self?
Am I ever going to get married? I was thinking about marriage then. Am I ever going to have kids? I wanted to be a mother.
Well, get out of this damn little hellhole town? Is that the question you would have been asking yourself?
Am I ever going to get out of the farm country?
Well, I mean, let's face it, a year later you joined the military, so it's not like it wasn't on the top of your mind. But it tells you, that kind of an answer. You were looking for, the relationships.
I was.
A way out of a thing, and as a 16-year-old guy washing dishes is, how can I make some easy money? Probably so I can get some easy girls. If I would take a guess, it probably would have been my mindset as a 16-year-old boy. But in my defense, that's the mindset of every 16-year-old boy that's ever walked the earth. except for gay ones. But the only difference there is they want a guy instead of a girl. That's it. It's the only difference. Everything else is the same. Hey, man. Love of money is blind among young men. And that is your daily dose of love.
God.
What, you want me to lie?
Wait, we're still on.
Yeah. Yeah, I always forget my microphone thing. What is it with that? All right. Let me actually name this thing before I end the show, because if I don't, I won't name it. Let me finish processing. God, this thing takes so long sometimes. Oh, okay.
170.
Yes, 170. That's the bad one. That's what we're gonna label it. The bad one. Bad one.
What?
Dude, that wasn't our greatest one, man. I'm just saying. But they all can't be winners. I'm just saying.
They got, yeah, really.
They all can't be winners. I could redo it, but I'm not. They all can't be winners. It wasn't terrible. It's just
It wasn't terrible.
we were done at about 2:20, and because of the way algorithms work, it needs to be 3 minutes. And so I extended it, as you could tell. I got stretching it there at the end, and I was running out of ways to stretch it. There was only so many ways to stretch that one, man. It's not my fault, man. All right, I should start doing a Cheech impression. No, Chong impression.
Chong.
I can't do a Cheech impression.
Amen.
Amen. All right. We are out of here. Thanks, you guys, for taking the time to watch this for some reason. You can send a Dear Lubby letter to love@latenightlove.us. You can hit me up on Twitter @JazzRack, or you can hit us on all the various social media platforms that you find us on. Please do us the favor, like, share, subscribe, and if you can, click the help join our community button and help us out. We'd appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and love everybody.
Good night.